Okay, I think we've solved some of our, hold on, we got another one coming in. All right, let me do a quick roll call here with, okay, Mr. Pro Tem.
Present.
All right, so we have Mrs. Parsons. Are we getting any feedback?
I can hear you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, give me 1 second.
So it's right now.
Let's go, audio check.
I can hear you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, good. All right, I think we're good now.
Click instructions.
Ms. Jackson, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, loud and clear. I think we're ready to go. We have Ms. Flegler.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I got you now. Go again, Ms. Flegler.
How about now?
Okay, loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're ready to go.
Can you hear me?
Okay, no challenge here. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, I apologize to all that's out there again for the technical delays here, but today is a special call meeting for the Town Council of Andrews. And again, today is a Tuesday, August the 11th at 6 p.m. Actually, it's about 6:10, and we're going to get started here. And we'll go ahead with a roll call. Ms. Parson? Okay. Ms. Parson, are you there?
Mayor McClary,
Okay, present.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Present.
Councilmember Anderson, Councilmember Lee,
Yeah.
Councilmember Altman, Councilmember Staffer, Councilmember Flagler.
Here.
Okay, that's 4 of the 7 members. We do have a quorum to continue with the town's business. We'll go ahead now with the invocation.
Lord, bless us as town council members with the strength and mind to be resilient in our responsibility to all the citizens of Andes. Give us the mindset to be a part of the solution and not the problem. And keep us working together in unity. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we've got roll call on the way. And again, we haven't established a quorum here. And council, this special call meeting, and which falls under the new business item here, one item for today, and that is to bring to the council a recommendation for the purchase of a vacuum truck. And just a little bit of background for those that are out there listening and don't quite understand, the town of Andrews owns both its water and sewer system. And as a part of that, obviously, you need critical equipment to run those systems, to maintain those systems. This vacuum truck is one of those things for our sewer maintenance challenges that we have right now. We have not had a vac truck, operational vac truck, for a number of years. I think it probably goes beyond a decade. One that's fully operational. And the purpose of this vac truck, obviously, is to remove waste, solid waste, wastewater. And in this particular case, this vac truck is dual purpose. It also serves as has a pressure hose that is used to maintain our manholes. And in this case, we have over 400 manholes in the town of Andrews. And they're required, again, to be cleaned and serviced, again, so we can have a smooth flow of waste through the town, up through the export, which goes off to Georgetown. And again, this vac truck is a critical item. And again, we could not, as we know, our financial status in the past years was not where we could afford one. So as an interim solution, we were using rental vehicles, and also had an agreement with some of the septic tank truck owners that are in and around town that to assist us with this service. Recently, we've lost, for whatever reason, those vehicles are no longer available, at least when we need them. And unfortunately, our system, as we all know, is a challenge. It's not where it needs to be. So we're constantly battling waste, spills, not as much as we did in the last couple of years, but they're starting to increase more. So as we see now, what brings us to this point is that we have an increase of sewer job orders, and we don't have a vac truck or anything similar to it ready available to take care of those problems. And so again, as outlined in the consent order, that's one of the requirements. Now, we had a plan in place, which is a part of the USDA grant loan that we put in place over 3 years ago. And for some reason, that thing is still caught up in red tape. But the vac truck was one of those items that we were projecting to be purchased through this sourcing method, if you will. And again, that has not come to terms. And so here we are. We have a great need for this. In my opinion, I think all of us will agree this is a critical need and an emergent need. And so we need to address that now. So what the staff has been doing for the last several weeks, along with the Public Works Director, is looking for our best option. Something that we can afford within our budget, and that's going to be a reliable system to take care of these matters as I just described. So we looked at several of them. You know, they range from anywhere from $500,000 to where we think right now what we're going to present today is something within our financial abilities to afford, if you will. And so what we'll do, so you kind of got some of the background. We'll let Ms. Jackson, our accountant, talk us through the method, what's available for us right now, and then make a recommendation for the council's vote. And that's where we'll proceed from this point. Just one thing to highlight: over the last couple of years, we've been spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000 plus for rental services, again, to take care of these needs. And that doesn't include all the other things that come with it. But again, just looking at back truck services and requirements in excess of $15,000. And that's money, again, that's money we can be putting into the system and outright own it ourselves. And again, be prepared to address any emergent needs. And I will also say that this is going to come in handy because as you take a look at Morgan from Maine headed south on Morgan, we're starting to have some problems with that road. We're going to have to do some major repairs, probably at least two blocks from Main Street. And that's a clay pipe right now that is transporting our sewer system, and it's failing very quickly. So we're gonna need a system again to take care of that.
Mr. Mayor, is that why we have a pump on Myrtle now?
No, Myrtle. The problem with Myrtle is that's a bypass pump there. The pump inside of Myrtle is out.
Okay.
So that's that individual. Yeah, that's that individual. And what you see there is a bypass pump that is continuing to push to move waste along.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Separate issue. This truck here again, which is mobile, and will be able to go to any place inside of town to extract any waste that we have a spill, or again, it will be critical when we start to repair and replace those pipes along places like Morgan Avenue, Beach Avenue. Those are two major operations coming up. Right now, a back truck to rent a back truck to do those jobs is going to cost you at a minimum of about $235 per hour. And again, you can do the math and see how that will add up. And then, again, it's just not cost beneficial to the town, especially when we're in a position right now to outright own one for ourselves. And then again, increase the efficiency and stay within the guidelines of DHEC. If you're looking at DHEC consent order, it kind of clearly lays out one of the requirements we must meet is to have the proper equipment and personnel with the right certification managing this system. So I'm going to pause there, and when we get to the discussion point, I'll definitely open it up the floor for any comments. But I want Ms. Jackson at this point in time to talk to us real quick about our options that we're presenting to the council tonight. Ms. Jackson.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. They have presented two options to you to purchase this truck. The first option is to finance it at 3 years with semi-annual payments. We'll be financing $95,000 at 5.75% interest with a payment of $17,223.40. So that'll give you a total of 6 payments over the 3 years, and that would give you about $8,000 to $9,000 that you would pay in interest over the life of that financing. Going down this route, since this isn't a budgeted item for fiscal year 2021, you would be using about $35,000 out of your fund balance. The second option would be to purchase it outright. Now that option is, I would assume, because they're saying $92,500 plus taxes and fees, so I would assume there would come out to $95,000 also, or thereabouts. with that route, the full 95,000 would come out of your fund balance this current year. Now, you do have in what's called your capital spending account, bank account, about when we adjust for the $150,000 that's set aside for the new public safety complex and some funds that have to be reimbursed to that account for the public safety complex, about $195,000 in that account that could be used to fund this purchase. Now, you have pros and cons with both either option. With option one, with financing, you have less cash outflow in the current year, so you maintain some of those cash reserves in this uncertain economy, and you've got less that'll be coming out of your fund balance during the current year, and you can budget for the payments in the subsequent years. Now, of course, the con of that is you're paying $8,000 to $9,000 in interest, and you're not earning much, if anything, on the funds that are sitting in your bank account. The pros and cons of option two to purchase it outright, biggest thing is you'd save that interest that you'll be paying. And the only con that I see is losing that liquidity or using up some of your cash reserves in an uncertain economy. You also have the quarterly maintenance on the machine or vehicle that ranges from $5,800 to $6,250, which each year, which that would be easily offset with the savings that you should have. As far as a recommendation, it's really council's preference as to whether they want to forego the interest and save the funds and use up your liquidity, or unless you just don't feel comfortable using out of your fund balance and you would rather finance it and only take out basically a third of the cost in the current year. Are there any questions?
Yes,
Well,
Ms.
Go
Jackson.
ahead, Pro Tem.
So you said the quarterly maintenance is $5,800. That's every quarter, or that's a year for the quarter?
No, that's annual.
Okay. All right.
The
So
maintenance annual.
one other question I have, and I guess this is more, I don't know if it could be done. It's just an idea. And I know y'all went through several scenarios here. You've obviously done your work. But could we actually get the money from the fund balance and pay it back and set it up on a payment like we were talking about in the first option and pay that back to the fund balance? Purchase it outright, but make payments for the next 3 years, by annual, and pay that money back to the fund balance. Financing ourselves, we're not paying any interest rate.
I do have a city that I audit that they do kind of do that. They basically budget a line item to pay themselves back. It's really only a book entry. It just basically sets aside part of their part of their budget every year, where they budget a line item that says, like a payment to themselves. But all that's doing is earmarking some of their revenue to say, this is going back in my fund balance.
Right. And like you stated, with the uncertainty of the economy, I was figuring that might be one way we wouldn't just eat up our safety net. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for a vac truck. I totally agree with the mayor. We definitely need one. Have been needing one for years. We spend a lot of money on services and rentals that, it's just basically throwing away money now that we could put this and have something that is ours. I totally agree with that. With what you've paid in these fees probably for the last, it hasn't been as bad in the last year, but probably if you went back probably 3-4 years, you probably paid for this vac truck.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Okay, that was just a thought I had. I don't know what everybody else is thinking. Just another type of option.
Well, let's do this. Let's get it into the proper format so we can continue with the discussion, and then we'll get input from other council members here. So what I would need right now is a motion to purchase it, and then we can discuss which method that or which option that we should approach, given all the pros and cons that we begin discussing. So at this point in time, can I get a motion to purchase a sewer vac truck for the town of Andrews?
I'll make a motion. We need to purchase the back truck for the town of Andrews.
I second that.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that we move forward with the purchase of a vac truck for the town of Andrews. Are there any discussion?
Yeah, and I apologize that for me. She asked me if I had any questions. I jumped.
No, you're
in.
good. No, no, you're perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing I had. Like I said, I'm all for a truck. I'm just trying to make sure we still got our safety net with the economy that's we're not sure what's going to happen. I just hate to eat that up. And then if we could pay ourselves back versus paying interest, plus we're not taking a big chunk at one, we'd be paying ourselves back. We would regain that money. Just an option.
Yes, sir. Good points. Ms. Flegler?
Yes, sir. I think that if you have the money, go ahead and pay for it. I think we need to go ahead and take it out the fund thing. If you got to go ahead and pay for it. We don't need to collect interest if you got money that you pay for it right off the bat.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Council Lee?
I just want to read one other thing. This was general information for the council who's present now. Section 1135-15-7. This is what you call emergency procurement. Notwithstanding any provision of this code, the chief procurement officer, which is the man, the head of the purchase agency, which is the man, either designate may make or authorize others to
They can't hear you.
make emergency procurement only when it exists in immediate threat to public health, welfare, and critical economic efficiency, a safety emergency condition as defined in regulation caused by the board, provided that such a procurement shall be made with confidence that is practical under the circumstances. The written determination of the basis of the emergency for the selection of the particular contract shall be included in the contract file. Basically, what it says, under this is considered to be emergency, and then let me subsequently add to the back truck. Well, I think as a councilman, why we need it, because plenty of time I'll be out there on the ground 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We gotta rent a truck. They gotta come from either Charleston, Somerville, Florence. You got these guys at the man say $235 or more. They come down here and we have access to our own back truck. And actually, we get this back truck. It actually save the town in reference to public work having that additional overtime, but they can fix it a lot quicker. And then you got to call somebody. These guys are already on the clock. You got to pay them. So I think it's more than feasible that we need to just go ahead and, if we got the money to pay it back, we need to get it because we need it. Because if anybody knows we need this being the man, we be out there a lot. Not trying to take away from the rest of the country, but actually seeing them sitting out there 2 and 3 hours waiting for somebody to come to help us. We need this truck. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it seems like we're all on board in terms of needing to go ahead and purchase this vehicle. But I want to go back to some of the points that the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, because a couple of the unknowns, I'm not so sure how I know the economy is going to have an impact, but even greater than that, I think we're going to have to consider is, as I mentioned earlier, what's not budgeted in this year too are those 2 potential repairs that we're going to have off of Morgan Avenue and Beach. So Ms. Jackson, I think my question, it may be premature right now, or not. Well, you may not be able to answer right now, but when we talk about this money coming out of the fund balance, I know we said the fund balance was about I thought it was 1 point something million. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The general fund balance was at, I just lost my note. Was at about 1.6 million. That was at your last audited financial statements. It was at 1,698,000. And I'm estimating, I've just started closing out the year for 1920, but I'm estimating should be fairly close to that again this year. Your water and sewer fund balance, when you take into consideration, when you don't account all your assets, because those aren't liquid, you're not going to go out and sell those. It's at about 200,000.
Okay, and I asked that because I wanted to be clear, because I know we were talking about pulling potentially this 95, which will probably be more closer to $102,000 because the maintenance contract is $5,800 per year. And we're only going to go year by year. We'll renew that regardless of what option. We'll go with the full 18,000. We were talking about 195,000. I didn't want it to be confused that that's all that was in there. It's 1.6 million. Correct? Or am I wrong?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. So I feel better about purchasing outright to avoid the interest and all those kind of thing. And I think we could probably still get at what Councilman Prince talked about in terms of, feeding back into that account, which again, I could be confused, but I thought funds not used at the end of the year automatically goes into a fund balance.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
But if you budget, you basically budget every year,
Right.
to spend what you take
Everything.
in. But if
Right.
you budget an expense that really won't be spent, then you should technically have some additional funds to be carried over.
Exactly. And so, and that's how we got to the 1.6 million or whatever it is right now, because then as we continue to improve our maintenance, replace these old systems, it's obviously less money we're putting into these things that we're spending. Then at the end of the year, we still potentially end up with monies that was programmed but wasn't spent, and then it goes into that. So I think I guess what I'm saying is that we're essentially paying ourselves back anyway by being more efficient in our operations.
Yeah, now that, technically this truck will be a water and sewer truck, but most of your fund balance is over in the general fund.
Right, which we're pulling from the general fund to support that account anyway.
Yes.
Right, so it's not self-sustaining. Okay, I wanted to feel a little bit more comfortable that we're not exhausting all of our monies, again, with the anticipation of having to replace these pipe systems on both these roads I just mentioned. Now we're looking at that. We're looking at options with respect to those two roads. It's trying to expand the life of that through some other technology. So we're looking at that as well. So I guess what I'm saying is that we have some flexibility in our fund balance, and it's not going to put us really in a as restricted as pulling money from only 195,000. That's what I'm trying to get at. So okay, so that's what I want to put out there. Any follow-ons from anyone based on what we just talked about?
One other question I have here is, do we know, I know we're in a situation now, we're having problems with services or whatever reason you said, and right now we don't have a vac truck. So if we did have a maintenance issue with this new truck, do we know what it would cost to get our old truck to where if it wasn't a lot of money where it could be a backup truck? Or I mean, if we're gonna, go ahead and spend the money looking forward to take care of this problem, if it's gonna be just a little bit more, why not go ahead and pull the money to do that as well? If it's not very much, I don't know if we've investigated the cost or not.
Yeah, we've tried for years looking at options for that, and the best we can get out, it was cost prohibitive, if you will, at the time where we were. But we still have use out of it because of the hose itself. So as we go about to do the maintenance on the man hose, we can still use that truck, I think. But the engine right now, it has a huge, I don't know how it happened, but it has two large holes in the engine that's sitting up down at one of the maintenance shop right now. So I think we're probably looking at, well, I don't know, I don't want to guess because it'll be a false read.
Just another thought.
Probably get it up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think it's still something we don't want to write off, but yeah, it's a tough one right now. And we'll still have the opportunity to come back if we can figure that piece out and then, you know, see where we are financially, probably take advantage there. But it's best to have two systems, as you mentioned, ready to go.
Okay, so let me just clarify, you're talking about the purchase outright, taking the money for that and the maintenance for this year out of fund balance, and then next year we'll budget the maintenance part of it.
Right.
Okay,
Yes. So that's about 100, I think about 103. I think we have a comment from Council Lee.
Mayor Pro Tem Ted, that's an excellent idea. I didn't thought about that. I mean, I don't know everything. That makes a lot of sense to have a back truck, you know. Calling how it costs, but I just want to let you know that makes a lot of sense, just to have a backup back truck. And thank you, too.
Yeah. So I think your idea got endorsed there by Council Lee there. All right. Okay. So where we are right now, I think the discussion now, again, it probably should be 2 votes here. We'll vote on, again, we just made the motion to go ahead and purchase one. The next vote will come then on whether it's going to be finance or outright buy. So then we have a motion on the floor, properly second, that we purchase this vac truck for the town of Andrews. And we've had a discussion, ready for the vote.
Mayor McCleary,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
yes.
Councilmember Anderson, Councilmember Lee,
Yes,
Councilmember Altman, Councilmember Stamper, Councilmember Flagler.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Unanimous of the 4 members that are present. Okay, now I need to get a motion on the floor on the option for whether, again, it's financed or to purchase outright.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we purchase this back truck outright.
Second.
Okay, so moving properly second that we purchase this vehicle, this vac truck. Any discussion? No discussion, ready for the vote?
Mayor McCleary,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson, Councilmember Lee,
Yes,
Councilmember Altman, Councilmember Stamper, Councilmember Flagler.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried that we will move forward and purchase the truck and this maintenance package for the 1-year maintenance service, which again will be done quarterly. They will be on site and it will be done by the company that we're purchasing from. Right now, again, all matters are settled. What in terms of timeline, we will move forward tomorrow and prepare the check for this. We will go ahead and get the agreement signed and the packet that you all have is exactly what we will be submitting to the company. And and then we'll move forward with anticipation of the truck being delivered to the town of Andrews either Thursday or Friday, no later than Friday morning. And we will be off and on our way. They will provide, as a part of this maintenance, the maintenance and for the delivery, they will do a thorough training with the operators. Because again, this is a truck that requires a CDL operator. We have 2 currently on staff. One right now operates the trash truck, and the other will be operating the vac truck when it's needed to. So that will happen. We feel pretty good about that. But again, we can't. And again, great points in terms of the unpredictable economic turn. So we really have to keep our eyes on that. As I talk to the directors in all 3 of our departments, we have to really manage our dollars carefully and not waste them, because things can turn in a direction that's not favorable to us. So I'm being very, very tight on, again, spending, overtime, and all those things, because we know we don't have any wiggle room, if you will, when it comes down to sewer. We got to get that off the ground. Water, we got to keep it maintained clean and servicing the community. So we had already gone into this budget year doing a lot of cuts. And so this is going to be a challenging year as we move forward through all the challenges that the environment present and the impact on the economy. So I appreciate everyone's time, and I encourage you all again. You know, it's still for those out there, we still have a mandatory mask in the public and public places that we have, you know, that we should be wearing. We have had a spike in positive COVID-19 cases in Andrews. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that feeds into it. But we're going to have to really trust the opinion of the experts, and you know, and wear this mask when we're out there, and you know, preferably this thing will prevent the spread of this thing. But we have had, and unfortunately, death has been associated with some of the positive readings here recently in the town of Andrews. It's real, and it's happening. And so we're just going to have to be, again, so let's get in our minds that we're going to do what's right for ourselves and our families. Take care of them. So I'll get off my soapbox, and again, I appreciate it. For everybody that is safe and well out there, and we will see you next week at the regular town council meeting. Any announcements from anyone before we adjourn? Everybody seems like all hearts and minds are clear.
Right.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
May I make a motion that we adjourn?
Thank
All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.